Welcome to Inner Compass. And on today's episode, I am interviewing the beautiful Danielle Elizabeth from PlantSpiritEmpress. Danielle is an herbalist, teacher, and mystic who works closely with plants in sacred ritual and reverence for their ancestral teachings. She is the founder of Plant Spirit Empress, which embodies her devotion and service to the restoration of the feminine and Mother Earth. Her path weaves indigenous wisdom with traditional midwifery and folk herbalism. And you can get a hold or in contact with the beautiful Danielle through her Instagram, Plant Spirit Empress. Currently, she is doing a lot of work with women as a womb priestess and birth keeper, herbalist, and sacred fertility oracle. She's also doing private sessions where she channels people's spirit babies and helps them align to their conscious conception journey. And she also loves to work with Lotus and Rose. Today, we're going to dive into the topics of plant medicine, herbalism, how I got to meet Danielle, and we just get to be in the magic of the sacred feminine. We get to feel the magic and the portal that opens when two priestesses, two medicine women, witches come together to talk all things truth, healing, and plants. So I hope you enjoy. So, welcome, Danielle, to Inner Compass. This is a space for us to explore our personal and unique paths to connecting to Source. As the title shares, we're here to talk about our own personal compass and how we navigate through the ebbs and flows of life and what our North Star is in regards to what guides us in our journey on our spiritual path and in our personal development and just life overall. So thank you so much for coming on the show. I wanted to welcome you because I really honor and respect you as an herbalist, as a priestess, and as a teacher. The portals, your connection is super potent and felt. I got the opportunity to be in a container with you last year, and just being in your energy field felt very um, alive. And I wasn't able to make all the classes like live, but just being in the container for that month was really nourishing. And I could feel you holding all of us in your prayer. And since then, have felt a deeper connection to the plant realm and the study of herbalism in general. So thank you so much for coming on the show. Is there anything you'd like to say to introduce yourself that I perhaps didn't mention already?
Yeah, that is so beautiful. I guess for those that are listening, she's referring to one of the containers I created called Plant Spirit Empress, where we dove into a lot of womb healing with herbs and, yeah, going deep in our feminine lineage through the portal of plants and flowers. So thank you.
Yeah, that's right. It was definitely a very Empress feel. Um, a lot of it had to do with womb healing, right? Connecting to our feminine nature. And some of those plants were also like aphrodisiacs and just very creative. And I feel like, yeah, it was kind of around this time period too, last year.
Yeah, it was exactly 1 year ago. So it might have been the same day that I was holding a call. So it's very full circle.
Yeah. And tell me, what are you working on now? I think I saw you have some new containers you're offering.
Yeah, so I'm juggling a lot of things right now. So I was in Brazil when I held and created and shared Plant Spirit Empress. And I recently returned to my birthlands of California after almost 9 years. And life has been calling me to put my energy in different streams. So one of them is that is really, really near and dear to me. That has been with me as I've been walking this midwife and birth worker path, studying with a traditional Brazilian midwife in Brazil most recently, is spirit baby readings and offerings. So, spirit babies are beings that live in the spirit realms that want to be conceived and brought into this earth. So, really supporting mothers and women and, yeah, like priestesses of the womb that want to bring these beings through. So, right now, I'm offering one on one readings. So, yeah, going deep with that specific person and the energy of their spirit baby and transmitting messages from the spirit baby realms, and also just feeling into what that woman is holding in her experience in her womb, which goes back to generations back and even past lives, we can say. There's a lot that comes up in just one reading. But I definitely want to expand and share more classes, more teachings, just so people can understand, like, what is a spirit baby? Why is it important to do this work of preconception, which is not just from, the moment when you think that, okay, I want to like be pregnant now, and you tried. It's like it can be months to years before the actual conception, and you're just working with that spirit in many ways and being guided. And that's tying into the North Star. I feel like that work has been my guiding light, because your spirit baby pulls you
Mhm.
into the highest expansion of for your expression on this earth, so that you're able to hold them in their highest light. Um, yeah, the new earth babies carrying a lot of light.
Wow, I'm getting so many chills just like as you say that. Um, I've been recently like really feeling as one of my spirit babies. As you know, I work with ayahuasca, and it's been really present in my journeys, and um, it's a lot. It's actually the weight of that responsibility is something that really came through in my last dieta, and just like it's been a long time coming. But now that I feel like maybe it's getting closer, like I just see like little baby feet like floating around the space, like always around me, like and and there's been a lot of my like reflection in my journeys around like where do I want to have the child? Like where is the passport going to come from? Like what energy is the child going to be born into? Like what kind of family? Because I'm a traveler, it's like I think about like what kind of culture, what border, and it's quite a creative process. So I totally relate when you say it's like a north star or guiding star, because yeah, it really is going to impact the course of my life, following that experience.
Thank you for sharing. That's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really cool. Trust and surrender. They know what they're doing. They'll give you signs. And I know you're really connected, and you've been working with Bobinsana, which is really connected to the dream realm and mermaids, and so beautiful.
Yeah, it's funny you say Bobinsana because precisely I was dieting Bobinsana when this was coming through. And yeah, I think I shared with you too that one of my teachers had shared that, a lot of people resonate or connect Bobinsana to the energies of the mermaid, but there's also this connection to the crystal kingdom and the quartz, and like these babies that are coming through are like crystal children. So I think there's a parallel there as well.
Yes, absolutely. My midwife also made a comparison with the light that these children are, and like the pure spirit, yeah, just purest light that can exist in the universe and all the universes, is that of, yeah, a quartz crystal as well. Like that's the energy that they are. They're pure
Mhm.
crystal. So I love that. I definitely want to like dive deeper into that knowing, and thank you for sharing that. I feel like that's a really juicy and, yeah, secret.
And do you feel like you came to this work because you've done this in other lifetimes? I feel this is very sacred high priestess work. So I'd love to hear about your journey, where maybe even, yeah, as much as you want to share about how it brought you to this work here and now.
Yeah, it's actually perfect because what I want to share is what brought me to like Atitlan, Guatemala, and I know you have connection there, so it's really nice to kind of revisit this sacred volcanic portal of transformation. So yeah, the birth work kind of really came apparent for me when I set foot on the sacred lands of Guatemala, Guatemala, and like Atitlan. And it was the first time I had ever been there. I was feeling called for years. And I started having these dreams of being a midwife. And I remember this one dream I had. I was There was a pregnant woman and she was giving birth and she was squatting. I didn't see her face, but I was catching her baby and I had laid rose petals at her feet. And I remember after that dream, I woke up with so much remembrance and I was just in tears by the beauty of that gift. So I know that I have had, yeah, done this work in past lives. And not shortly after that, I joined a Mayan womb massage course with midwife elders, and they spoke about how Doña Domingo was speaking about how she would receive dreams that would teach her how to support a mother that was pregnant and where to put her hands and what to do, I think, from the age of 7. So I didn't have these dreams from a young age, but I my sister was born when I was 6 years old, so I feel like I was around babies a lot, and just many times in my life, people would give me their newborn to hold, or I would just be around a baby. So it's definitely been in my field since a young age, but the remembrance and the dreams came when I was ready to remember and do this work and then meet the teachers that would support me in birthing this knowing in the physical of how to actually use my hand and what tools are available with the herbs and with massage. And yeah, so very beautiful.
Wow, what a beautiful gift. And yeah, I totally, want to bring this point up that you shared about how in these Native American or Native Indigenous communities, it's so beautiful and such a gift that they get to be born into their purpose. And from working with various communities myself as well, I was actually sitting with that too recently, just witnessing my teacher having been born to, in the womb with his mother already drinking the medicine. Like he knew from birth that this was his purpose. He was raised and nurtured to be a curandero, to be a medicine carrier. And like in the Mayan culture, the same people based on their birth date are initiated from birth. And while many of us in modern society don't have that, this is something that I brought up actually in my last podcast. It's up to us almost to find that community and that tribe that's going to support us in really stepping into our gifts. And it's a little even more challenging, but it's not to say that we aren't born with a purpose. And we almost have to work for it even harder to establish that sense of confidence and trust. So yeah, I just want to celebrate you and following your inner calling, and for all of those listening to trust that when you hear that, and the signs in the universe is going to are going to validate that through your walk. And if they don't, then you also should see that too. Yeah, doors close, right? Like you were in Brazil, right? And then something happens, and then the path moves us and takes us somewhere different. And so that's part of walking this path of mystery too. It's like recognizing when certain doors close and others open, and yeah, ultimately trusting the bigger picture and the bigger why.
Yes, and also what we have the most resistance to is sometimes the deepest medicine that we meet. I was resisting returning to California for many years, and when I was in Brazil, there was one plant medicine ceremony I went through, and I was receiving that I needed to come back. I needed to be surrounded by these sacred lands that carry so much native indigenous wisdom in a different way, like the beauty way path. And yeah, just like being able to find plant spirits that are so sacred, and walk with them. Right now, cedar has been coming a lot in my reality. And yeah, working with my Native American flute and praying to the land, and also being like pulled to different parts of California, and even, extending soon to different states, which I never really explored these lands. Um, yeah, when I was living here.
Mm, yeah, it's interesting. I feel I resonate too as a traveler. How like my journey traveling started like in Thailand. I had to go as far as away as possible, and it took years, almost a whole decade, for me to return back to my own origin and source. So, I'd love to hear a little bit about like your journey as a traveling medicine woman.
Yes. Yeah, I had a similar experience. So, right when I graduated university, I was teaching English in Spain for 2 years. It was really lovely. I lived in Granada for a year. And then I realized that, yeah, I needed to really allow my free spirited nomadic gypsy to roam free. So I ended up moving to Thailand. I have half Thai ancestry on my father's side. And I lived in Chiang Mai for a year, and then went to Koh Phangan. And probably Koh Phangan really opened my journey to all the community that spread all over the world. So then I was in Bali and India, then Guatemala, Mexico, Peru, Brazil. And yeah, it was really following this serpentine spiral that was just bringing me to these places. And at first, I didn't really understand, and it was hard to explain to people why. Like, my family thought I was running away and like avoiding responsibility. And then later on, it was revealed to me that I'm a grid worker for the planet, and it made so much sense that
Mhm.
I'm remembering codes, I'm seeding codes, I'm like bringing codes together. A lot of this work has been done with crystals as well. So going to places where there's high crystalline energy, really strong nature spirit energy, and yeah. But I feel that, I guess, turning 30 brought me back here, and I was calling in more stability and grounding to be more rooted. And a lot of my work has been in the online portal. And now I'm starting to bring these experiences to in-person circles, which feels amazing because I get to meet some of the women that have I've been connected to for years through Instagram, and create spaces and physically be able to, yeah, work with the plants and hug each other and go to the river and sing and be on the land together. And there's a few, yeah, sisters from PlantSpiritEmpress that I'm going to be meeting in person next month in Ojai. So I'm so happy. It's like, it's such a remembrance. Like, we've been doing this work in past lifetimes. The priestesshood is strong. Yeah, I
Mhm.
trust fully, even if it doesn't make sense anymore to anyone else. Like, I know.
Did you grow up like spiritual or in any type of religious space?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I grew up with Christianity. Yeah. So there's always been this strong connection to, yeah, the divine, and Mary Magdalene has appeared on my path a lot, but I feel like I wasn't ever fully in it because the teachings and the way it was taught didn't fully resonate with me. And now I understand it in a different way. But I feel like my spiritual path started around when I was 16 or 17. And this started with oracle cards and crystals. And I guess when I was younger, the magic 8 ball and fortune teller things. I
Mm,
just didn't have that outlet or the community yet.
mm. And when, it's going to tie into my next question as well. What is your daily practice, and or when did your like spirituality feel like it became more grounded into your day to day life?
Yeah, so my daily practice and nightly involves making an herbal tea. I feel like that really grounds me. And sorry, what was the second half of the question?
When did spirituality feel like it became more grounded and then like a day to day kind of practice?
Yeah, I would say I started the path through yoga and meditation. So there was a time when that was more of my daily routine. And now I feel like I really like the ritual of tea in the morning and choosing an herbal tea. Right now, I'm drinking a lot of rooibos, and I feel like my spiritual practice became more grounded when I started working with herbs and plants. Yeah, because they are of the earth. Sometimes sometimes meditation can kind of take you out of the body,
Mm,
but the herbs bring you like into your body, and like your body's receiving nutrients at the same time and medicinal benefits. And yeah, I like tuning into the earthy flavor and aroma. And I know you started making tea too after Plants Empress.
yeah. Yeah, I feel like your journey has been super inspiring because I also see that like you work with the herbs and plants of the land or territory that you're living in. And that makes total sense, right? To like actually tune into the local energy and to receive like the local minerals and nutrients that your like physical body also needs to like ground in.
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah. You spent some time here in Peru. This is where I'm at right now, right? Lee like, lived here for a while.
Yeah, I really miss Peru. I feel like in Peru, I was more musical. I was playing my guitar every day. I was tapping into my voice. And it's actually, I want to bring this back into my routine here. Um, yeah.
Mm, beautiful. And so I have this topic, this question, we talked about how you connect to source or to Mother Earth through the plants, right? And I feel like something that's really a hot topic right now is this whole idea of, you know, people connecting to plant medicines and there being a debate around if you're indigenous or not indigenous. And similar to you, I feel like I have both, right? I have um, indigenous and non-indigenous blood. But as I say that, I think it's even funny because I do personally believe that everyone can be indigenous. I think indigenous is more of a way of life and a relationship that we cultivate with the earth, with the elements, with spirit. And so I'm just kind of curious, has this come up for you in your path and what your perspective is as someone that is sharing these types of practices?
Yeah, absolutely. This is really potent. I mean, I, I'm not serving medicine alone. Like, I'm not serving ayahuasca or wachuma or like really master plant teachers alone. I'm sitting in lineages like you with the Shipibo. And I feel that when I say plant spirit, which is the name, the branding, if you say that I received, and I'm really encompassing the whole plant realm. So even working with lavender or rosemary and mint and literally all the plants that exist from Western medicine to Chinese medicine to indigenous herbalism to shamanic plant medicine. Um, and yeah, I have the teachers and the lineages that I sit with. And I know in this lifetime that, I will never be someone that's serving medicine in a retreat or that doesn't resonate with me. And I actually had a trigger this morning. For some reason, there was someone that I was following, and I don't know if we should put this in the podcast, but I don't want to share it because it's alive. And
Yeah.
I saw that they had called the retreat with the mix of like Tantra and Ayahuasca. So they like called it Tantra Huasca, and they like chopped off Aya's name. And I was just like, this feels really disrespectful to the people who hold this medicine. And I left a comment, and yeah, I just felt that black jaguar come out. And, of course, it's like to, women that are doing it in Costa Rica and like Tantra, whatever, Ayahuasca, whatever is at the center. But it feels really disrespectful to use the name of such a master plant teacher. And yeah, they had no references to their teachers in their bio or their website. And I usually am not one to call people out on Instagram, but I'm not hiding. I'm just posting it from my account with my face. And I feel, yeah, the medicine is speaking through me. And I wouldn't say that, I'm a voice. I was like, I'm not a voice for the voiceless, because ayahuasca has a voice for those who are able to listen.
Mm.
Yeah, there's definitely this rage of the medicine being distorted, and all I can do is continue to share my medicine, my voice, my truth, and just be met with strength and grace, and hold that frequency, and call people out when they need to be called out. And in the end, she shared like the teacher and the lineage. And anyways, I don't know, I just needed to express that.
Yeah, I think it's important. I think it's part of the bigger work is us feeling that freedom to express ourselves. I think ultimately, um, as a whole, society has been quieted, and women, especially, over thousands of years because of toxic masculinity and toxic patriarchy. And so it's part of the work is just using our voice. And this is why we are where we are now, I feel, in society and in the world at large, with the atrocities that are happening in the world. It's like there's not enough people speaking up in general. And this is a huge sector of women's work, is just giving ourselves that permission to speak it. It doesn't have to be the absolute truth, because there is no such thing as an absolute truth. Everything, every reality is dynamic, and it's based on context. And so, we have to ask questions. We have to, even speak our opinion to then learn, okay, where did this person get that from? And we can then course correct. But if we stop ourselves before even speaking up, then we're never going to get anywhere. So thank you for sharing. I think it's really powerful to just get it out there, and to share and be vulnerable, and to learn from one another. Yeah, I also agree. I think for those that haven't studied with indigenous wisdom keepers, like they might not even know the depth and the strength of the connection um, that is embodied and felt when you actually do take that extra step to learn from indigenous wisdom keepers. I know for me, it's very visceral, the difference. I also feel, because I have indigenous roots myself, like my ancestors, they have to go to like other indigenous wisdom keepers for medicine, or it doesn't feel like medicine. It actually feels like a poison. And the certain opportune situations where I've chosen to sit with, say, a modern or Western white Caucasian facilitator, it's been very intentional for the purpose of learning. And yeah, I'll hear my ancestors, look who's in the space, counting maybe the number of BIPOC people, any honoring of the land and the indigenous keepers of the land. And I'll have these check marks in my brain. And I've had to actually be in ceremony and tell my ancestors, okay, I hear you. Like, let's chill out. Let me just receive what I'm meant to receive here. And if I'm that person, if I'm that bridge, if you ancestors are the ones that are meant to come to the ceremony and share your wisdom, okay, this is an opportunity for you to show up too. And so it's quite a real process for me. And I think, yeah, as the veils are really thin, they're even wanting to be mentioned right now.
we can totally make mistakes. I think it's just something with, yeah, Westerners bringing medicine to Costa Rica and not honoring the lineage, and then not even honoring the land. Like, I was in a ceremony with the sacred mushroom medicine, and they didn't even give any offerings to the land. And that ceremony was really intense, and I felt I was kind of supporting the space, and I realized, wow, like that literally drained my life force, and it didn't feel safe. And the next day I shared with um an elder, I mean a woman that's part of the Bravery tribe. Like, that ceremony was really strong. Like, I felt the ancestors were angry. And then the next day, she tells me this is where they were buried. Like, this land is a funeral site. And anyways, I got in trouble by the facilitators for speaking and sharing my voice, but it was really this black jaguar that came out again, this black jaguar mama, and wanted everyone to be safe. And I feel that was a really important piece of information that they needed to know to open a sacred medicine space and not even honor the land or know what land they're on or what happened on the land. It's just, that's to me pure ignorance, and I'm just gonna say that. We need to be smart, we need to be respectful, we need to be reverent, and it's
Mm-hmm.
okay to learn.
Yeah. Yeah. That's like what a big piece of why I enjoy studying, why I seek out these wisdom keepers is precisely to learn how to pray, to honor the land in a way that it's been for thousands of years and that many of us in modern society have lost touch with. Um, I do believe that some of us, maybe have had past lives, but there needs to be a remembrance and an activation. I know for the first fire ceremony that I went to and someone called in the directions, it was very visceral. It rang through my body and I instantly remembered, oh, right, this is how you pray. And a lot clicked in my life. But it wasn't just enough to just go to one ceremony. That was the first step of then seeking out many teachers and going to many different types of ceremonies and rituals and sitting as a student for me to formally create what is my invocation prayer and my personal medicine wheel. Do you work with the medicine wheel at all, or is this practice? I know it's kind of related to herbalism, even Wicca, and some of these more pagan cultures.
Yeah, I feel that it's not something I've incorporated into my practice too much, but I feel that maybe it's basically also, yeah, connected to the fact that my mother was adopted and I have yeah, Celtic, pagan lineage, European, and I feel that I've been disconnected from that, and I've been seeing myself needing to return to Ireland and Scotland, and even I have a little bit of Swedish. So I feel that for some reason I've been called to more South America and even Asia, and that I need to, yeah, return to these lands for, yeah.
There's definitely like a bigger master plan at play. Similar to you, like I started with yoga as well, went to India. I grew up in a Catholic Christian, very loose Catholic Christian home, and went to private school as a child. So had that awareness of, Christ and this bigger mission to be of service to humanity, and was really moved by that from a young age, but then got disconnected, came back through yoga, and then eventually found the medicine path, connected to indigenous wisdom keepers, and that felt really healing. And still to this day, it's like so much of my work. But yeah, I also feel like in this time of year, while the veils are really thin, I feel like my Northern European and European ancestors come through and they're like, hey girl, you've been ignoring us. What's up? And I actually just recently joined a container, and it's called Feminine Healing Ministries. And I just really was attracted to the leader's energy and her language, and thought, oh, it's going to support me in my own work. But now that I'm in it, it's Gnostic priestess course, and it's like reconnecting to my Christian roots in a whole new way, and also bringing it to more of like the origin of Christianity. And so I just opened a huge door to, yeah, this whole other dimension and spiritual path that I've been um, kind of not wanting to, no, it just hasn't really appeared. And now it's appearing in a really big way. And I do call in personally in my medicine wheel that I work with for my ceremonies, I always call in Christ consciousness at the North Star. And it's a big part of my own practice, the actual embodiment of Christ consciousness, not Christian dogma. Um, so I feel very much led by this energy to just fill my medicine toolkit with this new understanding. So yeah, just sharing that just brought that into the space as well.
I love
Beautiful. Speaking of just your connection to source, what is for you source energy, or what do you call God or great spirit? What does that feel like for you in your body and in your day-to-day prayer?
I would say I can really feel spirit and source when my life force energy is flowing in all parts of my body. It really feels like that breath. That's the most embodied way I could put that. And yeah, I would say it's more of a feeling, and it's really hard to put into words. But I would say the feeling of life force, like feeling full and alive and clear. And I feel like as an empath, and being even back in the US, I feel often I feel a more heavier energy, a heavier layer that I really have to take off before I can really be open and connected to source again. Um, which is fine. I've been using the tools of the spirit baths and plants and salt and the violet flame, and it's just adaptability, I feel.
Mm.
But yeah, I feel that I would say the deepest way that I feel spirit is through ayahuasca and through the plant medicines.
Mhm. How long have you been working with ayahuasca?
My first ceremony was when I was 20, I think in 2017. So 7 years ago.
Wow. Yeah.
But I'm not sitting in ceremony like every month. It's usually kind of spaced with a year or even sometimes 2 years of integration. And I recently, well, this was 2 years ago, I sat in a 2-week dieta, and I feel that the time has come for another dieta. So
Yeah. You did a dieta in Peru, correct?
yeah, with the Shipibo lineage.
What did you diet?
I dieted with Rao. It's this little plant that grows on the floor, pink and green leaves, and it was really about the mind and just clearing mind and thought patterns. But yeah, I'm just praying for the lands of Peru to just swoop me back in on the condor. Right now, I'm doing the eagle work and really would like to sit in Dieta with my Rusa or Bobensana. And um, I know you're not supposed to choose the plant sometimes, but I just feel those plants really alive in my feminine spirit. And yeah.
Yeah, and sometimes that choice is also coming from that deeper calling as well. Well, I'm sure that in the right timing, I totally agree, and had a similar experience with ayahuasca where um like I wouldn't when I started sitting, yeah, like the first couple of years, it would take months, even sometimes a year for me to revisit ceremony. And something that I've learned while here in Peru is that you really aren't supposed to come to the medicine unless it's like you're going through huge transformational times in your lives and you need that extra support. I mean,
Right.
there are churches that do it now more regularly as a way to connect to source, and that's their path. But traditionally, it was like maybe you only do it 2 or 3 times in your whole life in these big gateways or portals. I do think the times that we're in are calling for greater transformation at a much faster rate than we've ever seen, and so things are just constantly in motion and adapting. Um, but yeah, it's not till this year that I'm actively studying the medicine and have chosen to take an apprenticeship where I'm sitting like regularly. Before it was months, and I sat 50 times just for me to receive fully as a participant before ever even considering sitting as like a space holder. And yeah, I see a lot of people sitting only a few times and thinking that they're ready to hold space, and it's like, let the medicine actually give you what it's meant to give you before like you start to step into that healer wanting to focus outwardly rather than like actually receiving fully.
Yeah, I actually have a question for you.
Yeah.
So, what do you feel? Because I've been seeing like dietas run more regularly, and that's a deep dive with ayahuasca, sitting multiple times and studying. Do you feel that it's more of a study for those who choose to be in dieta, not monthly, but like quite often, even yearly, like dedicating 2 weeks or a month? Do you feel like that's more of a study, or that people are needing this transformation because of the times that we're in? Or, yeah, I would love to have your perspective.
Yeah, it's something that I'm currently in the process of learning and expanding my for me personally, I was called to dieta because for me it felt like the only route to truly become a facilitator of this medicine. So I felt very strongly that if I was going to take this on as a path, that I wanted to do it in the way that the original wisdom keepers did it. And so, yeah, very much a study and a path. And now that I'm in it, and like just recently last month hosted alongside my maestros, like a container dieta, I got to really see what it brings up in other people, and how other people move through it, and also just reflect with others what their intentions are. Because I do see the dieta being a possibly a container for healing as well. Certain plants, if you work with them, are going to give you certain abilities, are going to help you clean your blood or whatever the specific attributes of those plants. So it can definitely have like a more medical intention as well. But I do feel that for those that are walking the path of ayahuasca, it's a much deeper dive. In that, once you walk that path, depending on how deep you go, if you're doing one dieta for 11 days, you are in a way opening the door to be a maestro or like this path of self mastery, but you're literally just dipping your toes, if anything at all. I find with my teachers, they're open, they want people to come diet, they have these keys, they also, this is like their purpose in life, is to share these keys, um, but they don't give everything away in one diet, like they really can see people and where their intentions are. And they can see if the person is coming from their heart, if they've already done that work, or if they're like still, dealing with their shadows and living from that space. And when you go into the diet and you're working with the plant, they are working toward helping clear your path. And with the master plant, open you to really be a tree of light, or a plant of light, and to embody the wisdom of the earth. Plants like literally just consume light, and they're like these masters, right? They know how to live on planet earth in harmony, connected to all the other plants. And so it's, in a way, it's, the dieta is supporting us in attuning back to this way of being. But because of society and where we came from and what we've been used to, can be really difficult to remember that or to clear that out of the space. And so it takes time. Ayahuasca is also a tricky master plant. She has this quality of the trickster where like she will speak to you, but really up to us to always decipher the messages and to really tune in to where that message is coming from. I think we're in this culture where we hear, well, this is my truth and this is what I heard. But it's so important to really sit with everything that we hear, even if it's in a ceremony. And so the medicine might say something that's not necessarily the truth, but it's meant for you to sit with and reflect and go a little deeper with, and maybe even get another person's perspective, a teacher's or mentors, or for you to really sit with and let it brew and kind of germinate on its own, and let the path and your own higher self reveal it with time. Um, One of the things that I've learned just in general about ayahuasca is I feel like she's going to magnetize or magnify who you are, your light and your shadow. So what I see in like the medicine space, and I've witnessed with facilitators, especially people that really take on this path, is that she's just going to magnify who you are until you see it. And so sometimes that's why I feel that's my reasoning behind why I see sometimes these facilitators doing things that are just like, whoa, it's because the medicine is showing this person their ego, who they are. And sometimes it takes them literally doing something horrendous for them to possibly finally see it in their face, who they are.
Wrong.
It is strong. And when you're in dieta, I found out from this last container, it's like all of you is in the surface. And so it is this study. It takes a lot of self-awareness and even a lot of self-discipline to be like, okay, I have this feeling that's arising in me, and or this thought, this judgment, and not act on it, and to really be with it before it's bringing it to the facilitator or the teacher. It's like all of you is in this on the surface, your light and your shadow. And rather than externalizing it, it's better to just sit with those like, triggers and be with what's coming up, because it's there for you to witness. And sometimes it doesn't make sense while you're in the dieta because it's so you're just in it and the feelings. So yeah, it is a very big study, not just of the plant, but of yourself and how you are, or what comes up when you're in that vulnerable state and when your channel is open. Because my maestros, when they open the dieta, they sing these specific icaros that open your energy and connect you to the master plant. And this portal opens, and especially at first, it's a lot of cleaning. So there's a lot of shadow work, and there's a lot of just whether it's physical cleansing, mental, spiritual, emotional, there's a lot to just cleanse and process, and it takes seeing it and sometimes being triggered for it to be brought up to the surface. And it's not really toward the second half or end of the dieta that things start to kind of like smooth out and you start to finally feel the benefits. And it might even not be until it's closed, because what I really noticed too this last dieta was how the visceral feeling of when they close your dieta and when they do the protection prayers, the shift also in your energy. Someone in my container wanted to leave early, and it's like if you went to surgery and you just wanted to get up while you're literally open. It's not the best. Even though it might be really uncomfortable in the moment, and even if like, your mind is telling you you have to go, like we're going to respect people's opinion and we're not going to hold them against their will. But I wanted to bring this metaphor of imagine you went in for surgery and you're just in the middle of it. This is it. I'm going to leave. Like you're in a process, and it's you might not know it, but they have a certain procedure and they're on a certain timeline. They're opening the strength of the medicine and the diet, like little by little. And it's a sacred technology and science that it takes years and years to fully learn. Something that is, I guess alive for me and has come up in these last couple months of being a space holder in their center. in the West, like we want to learn and we want to ask all these questions and we want to be given the method like directly. And like there's so many courses and etc. workshops and like people have gotten used to just you buy something and like, you receive the teachings. But different to how the ancient traditions or just the indigenous have taught things, they don't teach like that. A lot of it's taught through observation, and it takes years for the teacher or the guru or the master to reveal a certain piece of the puzzle that unlocks your understanding. And so, yeah, I've just been witnessing that. And like, I feel I have a gift of being able to observe and communicate with the medicine and see certain things. And, and it's actually taken me a long time to even ask certain questions. But I feel my spirit honors the process of letting things come as they need. And it feels like sometimes even a bigger gift or blessing when it comes from my maestro or my teacher that it's like a confirmation of what I was already feeling inside.
Wow.
Yeah.
Perfectly. It really, it's a study, and we're students.
Yeah, yeah, and it takes lifetimes, years, I've been working with cacao and
Mhm.
and it's like doing these dietas with these other master plants, when I come back to cacao also strengthens my understanding of cacao and how it works. Now I drink cacao, I'm like, of course, she's she's so sweet.
Yeah, cacao is so sweet.
Yeah.
We're really lucky to just to be able to have access to this wisdom in our lifetime. I never would have imagined as a little girl that I'm going to be going to Peru and then sitting in a tambo in the jungle in silence for 2 weeks and connecting with plant spirits. It just wasn't available for me in my family and the hometown. Like there was nothing of that. Now it's way more accessible. Like people can get their plane ticket booked by someone else, go to a luxury center, do a dieta, and whatever way that people find the medicine, I guess the medicine knows. So I'm okay with taking a step back and surrendering to that, and knowing that there are different levels of the study too.
Yeah, definitely. That was something that my teacher shared with me very early on, being someone that was like traveling back and forth between South America and the United States. It's like people are going to find the people that's at their level, and like the master plants have their own agenda as well. Mother Earth has her own agenda, and there's like this different vibrational quality that I found around being a healer or like a space holder versus an activist. This is also something that's really supported me in separating kind of the two archetypes or ways of being. Like an activist is going to be really extreme in one direction, and that's what they're there to do, is to bring up a point that's maybe extremely right or left, etc., versus like someone that's here to embody the healer archetype or the space holder. When I talk to actual pages or master chiefs, they're in this more transcendent state where maybe they don't necessarily agree, but they're not trying to be in this combative energy. They have this like higher understanding, I feel, and just overall trust, and are embodying more of the healer of the light. Um, which is something that I personally really resonate with. But there's sometimes I do drop into the Jaguar activist, and it's my moment.
I love that. Yeah, I feel like I am more in that healer transcendent, and then sometimes, yeah.
Yeah, it's part of it. And yeah, I mean, this is why we're here in these times. This is why all of these different plant spirits are wanting to be communed with. I think the work that you're doing is so valuable in that you're like a bridge for people to connect to the earth through specific plants, spirits, and as you know, like each one has a unique vibration and unique feel, and each one of them heals us and teaches us something differently. And it's also just such a beautiful way to embody this animism or spiritual way of communing in life with all of the natural world and returning, a way to return back to like Gaia Sophia consciousness as well, and to the mother.
Yeah, it's a return to herbal medicine, to folk medicine, to supporting the community. And right now, I've been working at an herb shop, and it's just really great to see people come in and they have an ailment and they need support of the herbs. And, they know that it's working for them on a physical, medicinal level. And then I'm I'm giving them this medicine, and then I know the deeper layer, and just always praying that maybe they'll be able to see as well. It's fun to play all these archetypes and to have the hidden knowledge, and not everyone needs to know the full picture. Yeah, we don't need to give it all away to those who do not deserve to know, or are not on that path yet, or maybe they never will be. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, this has been so enlightening.
Do you have a favorite plant, spirit, or herb, or even top two or three that you'd like to speak on?
Yeah, I would say Rose for sure is in my lineage. For some reason, well, my mother's middle name is Rose, and my sister, for some reason, I wasn't given the middle name, but I love Rose. And I've been working a lot lately with Blue Lotus, and yeah, I recently received a shipment from this organic farm in Thailand that grows Blue Lotus, and I think they're growing that original Egyptian strain in Thailand. So I know it's connected to the past life Egyptian priestess that many of us are connected to. So I would say Rose and Blue Lotus feel like if there was an apocalypse and I had to have only two herbs. Rose for the heart opening. Also that, yeah, really strong boundaries and shamanic energy. And then Blue Lotus for the dream realm and the mind and ethereal nature. Um, yeah, they both feel like really powerful allies.
One thing I remember from our course together is also the strength and the power of rosemary, um, and her medicine. I feel like she's been also really alive for me, and Rue too, especially in the Central and South America. And like one of the master plants I'm dieting, Noya Rao, she's considered the tree of wisdom, the tree of light. She's thousands of years old. And one of the ways that my maestra Juanita works with her Shipibo name is Isayaka, which means hummingbird, is to support putting the other plants and master plants in order. I think it's really popular right now, also in the medicine space, for people to diet and want to diet many different plants. But actually, my teachers don't recommend that. They actually recommend less is more. And at our center, they're only offering really Noya Rao Dieta and Bobinsana Dieta because they feel that these two trees and these two plants are just pure love and light. And so they don't necessarily have a shadow side where like some other ones do, and can be used for both, good and or like black and white magic, etc. Um, but one of the gifts of Noya Route, because she is so high up in their hierarchy of plant because of its age and wisdom and also size, is that when people say have too many plants that they work with, they actually think that like they can counteract with one another or cross kind of the lines. And so Noya Rao is one of these plants that like those trees that like puts them all in order and can help put the diets in order and organize them so that they all in their right space. And so yeah, I've been finding how she's, since I dieted her as well, like reteaching me how to honor and respect each plant individually, and how to hold each one in reverence and use each one with awareness and intention.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that. That makes a lot of sense. I'd love to come to visit the center.
You happy Mama Juanita. They're really they're really magical beings, and they're very hands off in some ways, but when it comes to ceremony, like being in sacred space with them, that's when you receive you get it.
Will you be holding dietas yearly or regularly?
Yeah. So I have 3 different containers that I'll be supporting them in next year. One at the end of January, early February, one mid-May to mid-June, and one in November. And so, yeah, those are on my webpage. And speaking of containers, do you have any containers that are coming up that you'd like to share?
Yeah, so right now I've been focusing just in-person containers. The one coming up in Ojai next month, Artemisia, will be connecting with mugwort, which is a very European plant spirit. And I will be also holding a circle on winter solstice in Northern California. And for virtual online containers, soon to be coming a spirit baby container. So yeah, preconception, spirit baby study,
Mm.
path of the spiral, which I feel dieta is really connected to. Dieta can be a tool for preconception and for clearing the path for a new lineage to be birthed. So yeah, slowly, I'm really excited for all of this to come through. But until then, people can stay connected to me through my Instagram, PlantSpiritEmpress, and send me messages if they have any questions or want support.
Mm. Yeah, it's so funny you say that. They in the Shipibo culture and tradition, they say like when you diet, if you get pregnant right after, then it means that your dieta plant is coming through you. And so for them, it increases fertility and they work with it to just help open the heart and increase sensuality and the experience of pleasure. And then, yeah, so it's like when you diet and you get pregnant after, they're like, okay, that's the spirit of the diet coming through. And like, say you are a maestra and you have a child with a maestro, or even if you're just a really serious maestra and you have a baby, then your baby essentially is receiving all of the dietas that you did and is born with the dieta itself. Our children, if we are working with plants, would be carrying that as well. And it's also really interesting. They say if you're like a serious dietero, you're really on that practice, like once you diet, once you're on that path, it's really hard for you to be in relationship or sacred union with someone that's not on the path, because you're embodying this plant consciousness. And if they're not at that same level, or at least on the path to be, the plants themselves will like boot these partners out.
I love that. The plants filter. That's so powerful.
Ancestral healing tradition, they really do clear the path for the spirit babies. And same with moon dance. My abuela is always, once you become a moon dancer, just be careful because the probability of getting pregnant is much higher. I think after my first year of moon dance, 4 girls got pregnant.
I feel like we'll have another conversation focused on fertility, because the infertility rates, and I don't believe in infertility, are so high, and I'm just seeing signs all over California. So I just know this is really part of my mission that I'm fortifying and rooting by being here, is spreading that seed of fertility through plants and accessible aphrodisiacs. And then those who want to journey deeper, come diet. Yeah. How many tools? So exciting.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. We're getting close to time. It's been such a fun, inspirational conversation. Yeah, thank you so much for coming on and taking the time to share more of yourself, and in these times that we need to hear real life experiences, real life people that are living this path, hearing their perspective, hearing, how they came about this. I think this is really valuable and a big part of my mission with this podcast. And so just to close, I wanted to open up the space if there's maybe a guided little journey that you wanted to take us on, or just some words that you want to leave. The space is yours. Just something short and sweet.
Beautiful. Yeah, it's interesting. I can see the moments on a flower. I feel like through your diet, I was able to tune into her energy and really feeling my heart more open, feeling more inspired, and that kind of weaving of when we connect and meet and share codes in such a sacred way. That's really the true meaning of community, and I'm starting to learn that and see that in my being. So you're really calling in, praying for more spaces of connection, high quality connection, heart centered connection, seeding the prayer for community wherever we are in the world.
Thank you for your presence, for that life force energy that you embody and just spoke to with your prayer. It's really beautiful. You have a really beautiful energy and very powerful presence. I just want to give that reflection back to you. Like, you're one of these people that through social media, which I know is a big outlet for you, are putting out a vibration, like vibratory feel that is felt, and you are creating community, even if people don't, honor it or speak to it. Like, just as soon as you started talking about spirit babies, I feel like my spirit baby was in my field. Definitely, am super interested in one of these sessions, and I highly recommend, yeah, all these aspiring mothers to reach out, to follow you, and to connect to your offerings. Thank you so much, Danielle.
Such an honor. Thank you, sister.
But, so I hope you enjoyed this juicy conversation with the beautiful Danielle from PlantSpiritEmpress. You can find her on her Instagram account through the same title, PlantSpiritEmpress. And you can find her on IG at PlantSpiritEmpress. It was so, yeah, enlightening and activating to just be with another sister and to be raw and truthful about our medicine path. I feel like this is how we all grow and learn from one another. Each path is unique and going to be carved by the individual's personal karma, purpose, and destiny. But we still have so much to learn from one another, from our elders, from the wisdom keepers, and from the original wisdom keepers and source, Mother Earth, the plants, and our direct connection to a higher power, Great Spirit. So thank you so much for tuning in. If you're interested in working with either one of us, please reach out. I will be offering and co-facilitating these plant immersions, these plant dietas alongside my maestros, Mama Juana and Maestro Darwin from the Shipibo Canibo tribe in Pucallpa. And for dates, you can check out my link below in the show notes. And for any of the offerings that I am giving to the world, and also check out my webpage heartcosm.com for all my offerings, upcoming events, retreats, and opportunities to work with me one-on-one and in person, or groups, or for groups in person, or for group workshops and retreats. Thank you so much.